I mean, and then the third page of all of this is that Cocodona just like is, to me, like Cocodona is my Western States. Like it's my Hard Rock. Probably how like Scott Jurek or something feels about Western States. Like I feel about Cocodona. It's like I don't have that attachment to those other races, but I do very much have that towards Cocodona.
Welcome back to Flagstaff Bound, a special Cocodona 250 series brought to you by Distance to Empty podcast and Aravaipa Running. I'm Kevin Goldberg, host of the Distance to Empty podcast, where we dive deep into 200-plus mile races, just like Cocodona 250. As always, I'm joined by everyone's favorite co-host, Peter Noyes. Today's guest is the original Cocodona 250 champion. He just informed us that he is here as a favor to Aravaipa and not to us. We won't take it personally. Michael Versteeg, like as we mentioned, he won the first edition back in 2021. He's been on the start line in each subsequent year. Mike, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So let's go back to 2021. You won the first Cocodona 250. What's burned in your memory from that experience? Like when you think back to that inaugural year, what comes to mind?
I think just sort of the epitome of everything I sort of seek when it comes to ultra running, how I express myself through ultra running. I think that first year sort of summed a lot of it up. It was like, multi-day Arizona desert trail running. Wild, full of unknowns. No one knew, no one from Jamil down to myself, to any of the runners, to anyone associated with the race knew what was going to happen out there. It was like an experiment in every way. So, and that's fun. I like inaugural years at runs. I think no one has their shit together from, and that makes for an interesting time out there. So it was a good year. I was glad I got to experience it. Yeah. And I think that all of us who participated in that first year sort of moved forward with a little bit of a, honor badge or something like that. I think we were all proud to be a part of that first year. So, yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned that with that first year, there were so many unknowns, very unfamiliar. But you yourself, you're an Arizona native. So was there some familiarity? Did it still seem like it was a very personal experience for you? Being those Arizona trails.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, a lot of people have made a big deal out of the fact of like, I've lived in every town that the race runs through. I've spent time basically my whole life in every parts of that course. So I kind of went into the race that year sort of wildly cocky and not too concerned about it because I just felt really comfortable on that terrain. And I think knowing every stretch of that course really well and intimately is a real advantage psychologically. And, psychologically and mental side of things in these multi-day races mean a lot. So I think I had a real advantage being, the local guy for sure. And I think I still do. To a certain point. Yeah.
So I'm lining up for year 4 myself here. So I'm a year behind you. I was crewing that first year. And I think there's a lot of us who just keep coming back to this race, even if we tell ourselves we might not, or for whatever reason. And I'm curious for yourself, year 1, you won it. You said you went in feeling cocky. I think it was year 2 that you went in with a back injury and were pretty open and honest that you were just kind of starting to see what would happen. And, year 4, you went in saying you were feeling more fit than ever and we're going to improve your performance. And you had a huge improvement. What keeps you going back each year? Is it different every time or is it sort of a similar drive? Like why line up a Cocodona 250 every year?
Yeah, I think just wanting to be a part of it in any way that I can. So even years that I know that I can't finish or I'm not prepared to finish, I'm spoiled. I get invited back every year. So it's just sort of participating and being a part of it. And, in a lot of ways I've, I have a relationship with Aravaipa and Cocodona that goes back a long ways. And so that's really the biggest thing is just wanting to be a part of it in any way that I can, regardless of my fitness level or, I'm not a year round, like I go up and down with my fitness levels. It doesn't always coincide with Cocodona, but I still want to be a part of it. So, And, you know, last year, even though I like, so the two middle years, like knowing that I probably wasn't going to be able to finish, but still just going out there and seeing what happened. And I knew I was going to be able to finish last year, but I still kind of went in not super confident because I hadn't done it in a while, and I was feeling old, and I've had a kid, and just like a lot of things have happened in my life. And so this year is sort of the first year I'm going in like feeling confident, feeling ready to do it. And yeah, we'll like see what happens. But it's sort of the first year that I feel like, trying to put all the pieces together over, like, from my experience over the last few years. The first year was a completely different experience than any other year. And then having finished last year and then sort of moving into this year. So yeah, and I think from a competitive standpoint too, you know, I was just talking about this at the film premiere with like Jeff Browning. We were talking about how, like even a 100 miler, sometimes you look back on your experience in a 100 miler and you're like, oh, like I could have done this or that, like one or two things, and probably could have done a lot better, you know? And like even in a 100 miler, that's like maybe an hour you could have done better or something like that. But like with Cocodona, it's such a fucked up thing that like you 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 like, wow, if I did this one thing better, like I could run this thing like 8 hours faster or something. You know what I mean? It's like this huge window. So like even though I've finished twice, I personally don't feel like I've run that well any of the years. Like I've had a lot of shit go wrong and a lot of just really stupid mistakes. And like, you know, I probably wasted like 5 or 6 hours last year trying to sleep and not being able to sleep, like not exaggerating. And it's like, so there's just little things like that from a competitive standpoint that's like, oh, if I can fix this one thing, I can do like significantly better. And it's sort of uh yeah, from that standpoint, I think that's why you see so many of the like the top guys coming back. Like I imagine like String Bean had a similar experience like last year. I don't think he or I either ran the race that we wish that we could have run, especially on that like third day. And it becomes this sort of addictive thing that you want to come back and do the best you can. Now that, I mean, and then the third page of all of this is that Cocodona just like is, to me, like Cocodona is my Western States. Like it's my Hardrock. Like I like like probably how like Scott Jurek or something feels about Western States, like I feel about Cocodona. It's like I don't have that attachment to those other races, but I do very much have that towards Cocodona. So it's like all of these things in the same thing. Like, you know, I said publicly last year that like it was going to be my last year running, and it's like, well, you know, it actually, as long as I can be a part of it, I'm just going to be a part of it, you know, and whatever that looks like. And, you know, I'm 39. It's like, I'm probably not going to be getting too much faster in the years to come, but it's like, while I can still go for it, I'm going to go for it. So, yeah.
Cool. So the race has evolved a lot, obviously, since the first year. You know, there's more coverage, more competition, more attention. Do you like that evolution, or are you nostalgic about, you know, more of the low key nature of year one? Yeah, how do you evolve as the race evolves, really?
Probably both. Like I said earlier, like I think that the people who participated in that first year, like we have a certain like, it's a small club, you know, and we, you know, and we appreciate that we got to do that. But I also like, I kind of knew even that first year, like with the live stream and just like my own experience with like the public reaction and things like that. Like after that first year, I think we all knew where it was headed pretty quickly. So like it hasn't been a surprise at all to any of us that participated in those early years what's happened to Cocodona. And sometimes it's hard, like in our bubble, to tell, like especially our little like micro bubble here in Arizona, like how big Cocodona actually has gotten. But like it sort of feels like, if it's not already, like in a couple years, or maybe it is already, like one of the biggest days on the calendar, like internationally for ultra running. And like whether it's not right now or if it is, I don't really know. But it's like it doesn't surprise me, and I think we all knew that first year. So it's like, um, do I like the super shitty grassroots? Like, yeah, I said that, you know, I like inaugural years, but I think that Cocodona has become something else completely, and I like that as well. It's fun to participate in the circus, depending on your mood at the aid stations and things like that. And we don't have a lot of those like bigger events here on the U.S. side versus like Europe side. So it's kind of cool to have that with like all the participation and spectators and crews and all that and all the towns that we run through. So and I've always known that was the intent of this race from day one. So I don't get like upset that there's like a bunch of people or whatever. It's like that's what this race is. So there's plenty of other like shitty races out there. My race is pretty shitty. It's like you can still go get lost and eat candy the whole way.
Hey, you can get lost and eat candy at Cocodona too. You just have the live stream in your face while you're doing it. No,
Totally,
I think that's awesome. I think there's room for both, and I think, as you mentioned, anyone who got to experience that year one, I mean, you can kind of get the best of both worlds, where you got a little more low key Wild West special in that sense, and now it's becoming what it was sort of born to be.
But I mean, like same thing at like Black Canyon. Like I ran the first year at Black Canyon. There was like 30 of us out there running Black Canyon, and it was like versus what that race has become, like the most insane thing ever. So it's like, it's how it is. It's like it's kind of like getting pissed off when like your small town becomes a bigger town. It's like it's what towns do. What I mean? It's like they grow, and it's like, it's fine. And Jamil has that sort of vision and that desire to turn not all of his races, but some of his races into these big international events, and that's fine.
Yeah. So as these races grow and we get more and more first-time 200 runners, people stepping up. A lot of people are running Cocodona 250 this year as their first foray into the multi-day distance. What do you think most people don't understand about it, what it really takes to get through 250 miles to that finish line in Flagstaff? Or what do you think people are underestimating the most, like when they sign up?
Yeah, I don't know. What's coming to mind right now is I've said like wildly idealistic things before that like if you're like multi-day running is like your first like toe in the water of what endurance actually is. Like I think like things that you can do in a single effort or like less than 24 hours. Sustainability doesn't really matter. Like even running 100-milers, like you just run kind of as hard as you can for whatever that looks like, and then you're done. You can't walk for a week or whatever, and it's like that's not really sustainable. But to me, sustainability is part of endurance, and that you have to consider sustainability when it comes to multi-day running. And that's like, so I think you see it with, really good 100-milers that come in, and you never really know if they're going to have that skill set or not, because it's a wildly different beast. And people that aren't necessarily that good at 100-milers can do really well in the multi-day format. So I think it's just people making the mistake that like anything from their ultra running experience is going to really pay off for them, because it's just a completely different beast. Which I kind of like, you know what I mean? I think the ultra running thing and the 100-mile distance in our like society these days has become like the new marathon. It's like sort of the new bucket list distance. It's like everyone needs to like run 100-milers, and at a certain point, like like Cocodona sort of like weeds that out a little bit. You know what I mean? It sort of makes people confront why they're actually out there and like why they're doing these things, and some of those like superficial reasons sort of drop away pretty quick on like day two. And it's like so yeah, I think things that humble you are good. What like in Cocodona is like wildly humbling. Like things are going to go wrong, and it's like, I don't know, it's just not 100-miler. It's like,
Yeah, we've talked about that on our podcast before. Like, you really have to have a strong why for these 200 plus races, maybe less so on the shorter ones. So, if someone asked you to describe Cocodona in one sentence, what would you say?
I don't know. I got nothing.
even a word?
Yeah, I mean, authentic in a world that lacks it, maybe sometimes. At least from my perception, it's like kind of what I just said. It strips a lot of those superficial things away. So authenticity in a world that doesn't always have it. So um, yeah, I think even like thinking back to that first documentary that was made about like year run, I think I called it like this is that like this idealistic sort of wild thing out in the desert that um, I think a lot of us look for, and again, and not just the competitive people, why you see returning over and over again, but down the list, you see so many return runners year after year after year because it's like it has that whatever it is, I don't know what it is, intangibles,
Yeah. Yeah. All right,
That
Mike,
was
we've been
more than a
asking.
sentence.
Yeah, those are the best kind of answers. We've been asking this next short set of questions to every guest. It's been fun to see the different answers, especially if you've had a lot of experience on the course as you have. What section are you most looking forward to? What's your favorite section on the whole course?
uh Prescott, I think. I mean, I live in Prescott. I like running through Whiskey Row. I like seeing all my friends. I like seeing all my people. But I also just really like even I really like that first night. Um, like getting through the Bradshaws. And I typically, even in like 100 milers, like I don't do super well during the day. It's usually like the sun sets and I can cool down, and like the night happens, and I'll flip a switch and feel a lot better. So, and that's sort of the last time in Cocodona that you feel good in my experience is like that first night running through Prescott for me and seeing everybody and still feeling physically okay, and just like being on all my hometown trails is probably my favorite. Yeah.
And then, is there a section of Cocodona that you think that people underestimate the most?
Uh, yeah. Well, yeah. Oddly, I think the last 8 miles, like coming down off Eldon, like people always make a big deal about going up Eldon, and Eldon climbing is never an issue for me, but running down that dirt road, like, and you just, if it feels like there's this thing that happens psychologically, you like get to the top of Eldon, and you like think you're done, and then you have to pound these 8 miles on like tired legs, and it just like hurts really bad. I think that's an underestimated part for sure. Yeah.
Are you excited for the reversal then, where you're going down the steep side?
That's news to me. This is a really good example of how much I pay attention to things. So no, you
So
should inform me.
so this year we're going up that fire road and down the like the steep side of Eldon.
Why? Do you know
I
why?
don't know. Probably something with the Mexican spotted owl. Who knows?
Huh.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like that.
I don't like it either. Because even though, yeah, I agree. I don't love the pounding down, but man, it's faster.
Yeah. Huh. It's
Well,
interesting.
talk to Steve, see if you can get it changed back.
Okay.
We'll give you
like,
some
like,
hope.
like Steve is plenty sick of my advice he's gotten over the years about every this and that. Yeah. But
Uh,
yeah.
all right, this is an easy one for you. What shoes are you going to start the race in?
Crocs.
Love it. Yeah, and I almost believe you because we shared some miles together in the Prescott year, the 2022, and I
Yeah.
think you were in like Luna sandals for the first 50K or so.
Oh yeah. Well, that was the year my back was fucked up, and I knew I kind of wasn't gonna run.
Yeah.
No, I think Satisfy just released their first shoe, so I'll probably try and wear their shoe as much as I can. The Rocker. Um, yeah.
Okay. And is there an outcome of Cocodona 250 this year that's not tied to results or time or placement that would make you proud of yourself?
Not an outcome. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what's great about Cocodona is that like no matter what happens out there, that's sort of like what happens, and so it's like, um, I think there's a lot of ways that you can I think Jamil's going to run this year. So, or he at least he's talked about running this year, and I don't know if it's going to work out or not. But I think I always have a lot of friends running this race, so it's like even if things don't work out competitively, I can kind of regroup and sort of come up with new objectives on the fly, and sort of why you're out there, and I can take a nap and wait for Jamil and finish the race with Jamil, or do whatever. There's a lot of different types of experiences you can have over 250 miles. So I think just going out there and yeah, I don't know. My intent is to go really fast this year. So I'm either going to know by first year if it's going to work or not, or not. So I'll kind of know probably by that first day what ends up happening. So
all right.
yeah,
Last
sort of
question.
given sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. Yeah. Last question we got for you here. We asked ChatGPT how many steps it would take for a person to get from Black Canyon City to Heritage Square along the Cocodona 250 course. We've had guesses spanning 6 million apart. Curious to see what you think.
I'm gonna go. So let me do some math in my head real quick. 205. I'm gonna go 650,000.
It's pretty close. Your Satisfy teammate said 666 million.
Oh wow, yeah, that checks out.
Yeah. So I almost was like, is he going to say 666,000? But it's 350,000 to 500,000. So you're pretty close.
Oh yeah.
But who knows if
I
that's
bet I'm
right.
closer. I bet I'm more. I'm probably more correct than
yes.
Count
the internet.
Yeah, I would agree. Awesome. Cocodona 250 kicks off Monday, May 5th at 5 a.m. Pacific. You can catch all that action on the live stream over at Mountain Outpost YouTube channel. Aravaipa Running will bring us nonstop coverage around the clock. Cocodona 250 social channels for behind-the-scene content and more stuff over there. If you're enjoying this series, check us out. Distance to Empty podcast, 200-plus mile content every week. Mike, thank you so much for joining us. Can't wait to see you out there in Arizona.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Stop murdering animals for entertainment, people.